Hey everybody, I just want to do a follow-up with WGConsortium. He's talking about airbrushes and acrylic paints and all the likes, and I just wanted to show you folks an airbrush I bought when I was in high school. This is a Badger Crescendo 175, and this here is a Badger 400. Back in the days, I thought I was going to be a kick butt auto body painter, but that never happened. So during my auto body classes, I used this brush the most, and I've only used this one a couple times, as I mentioned in previous posts at WGConsortium. But this one here, I did just solid base paint, and like I said before, if you're using an oil or a solvent type paint, you have to use solvent cleaners in order to clean out the tins. But I wanted to show you additional equipment that I had bought a year ago, because I was trying to pick up airbrushing again. The Badger air compressor here, model 18010, and I can't remember, but I think it's like at least over 90 psi output on this sucker. And a secondary air compressor I bought is a Campbell Hausfeld air compressor, 100 psi with a 2-gallon tank, I think. Now, like I've been mentioning twice at WGConsortium about how loud the air compressor is. Now, this air compressor is for home use, but it's like when you're at your own home and have no neighbors to really tick off because they're not divided between 6 inches of plywood and insulation. So this type of air compressor you definitely would not want to run in an apartment. This air compressor is a lot quieter than the CH powered air compressor, but even though the quietness is there, it emits a low volume thud. I mean, not a thud, but it emits a low volume vibration, and that vibration can be heard through the apartment. So that's why neither one of these really work out well for an apartment use. One thing to mention about when you get a tank or an air compressor like this, whoops, some airbrush bottles there. You can see underneath this tank here, and a lot of other tanks have them. See that little brass knob there? That's a bleed valve. It's very important if you're going to have your tank sitting idle for a long time to bleed that air out and bleed all the moisture that gets trapped in the air compressor. Now, like this air compressor I could run outside and bring in and use, but the problem is that it's winter, very cold, and right now it's also very wet and damp outside, and all that moisture would get trapped inside the tank, and not good for the tank. So another reason why you want to bleed your tanks if you're not going to be using them is that the moisture can corrode your tank, and the particles and stuff that get sucked in from the air compressor will set down there, turn into like a black sludge. You can pull that sludge through your air compressor onto your artwork. Another thing to keep in mind about if you don't use a primer spray on models, and even like this guy here, I'm going to be modding this into a grotesque for Warhammer 40k. You can airbrush the paint on here, but the problem is that it's not really a porous material, and then being that it's not porous, the paint's not gonna adhere to it very well, so you do have to prep it. An example to why you need to have a porous surface is like these models here that I've been painting with a paint brush. No primer was used on the model. I just went straight on to applying paint. Now the problem is that without the porous surface, the paint can be pulled off actually pretty easily because it's got nothing to grip to. It's just like in auto body class, when you're going to put paint onto a car, you take sandpaper to it and you rough up that metal so that when you spray the coat onto the car, it's going to stick to it. Scuff up that surface with the sandpaper, it will give that porous surface for the paint to adhere. So you definitely want to use a primer paint on your plastic models. This is a bottle here that I prepped some paint in. The paint I got in here is just a Craftsmart acrylic paint, and it's the paint I'm actually using for the brown leather parts for my orcs. Anyways, I got some mixed up here. So if I can get the lighting in here, there's the consistency that you'd probably want for your airbrush. That might be, well, just a little bit more water, probably give it that milky, but you can see it's pretty fluid here. And but I don't want it too much thinner because I'm not putting this through my airbrush. I'm using this to paint. So, but yeah, just a little more information.